We're almost there! How did SpaceX install the water-cooled steel plate? Is this the new Starship test article? Has Falcon 9 broken another record? Does Europe have any launch capabilities left? My name is Felix, welcome to What About It. Let's dive right in. Starship updates. We're back from our brief one-week short break during which SpaceX has proven once again that they can amplify progress to downright staggering levels. The water-cooled steel plate is almost finished, Booster 10 finally leaves the rocket garden, and much more. SpaceX is setting new records out at Starbase. I couldn't wait to get back in my studio and take a look at the space industry together with you again. Let's do it. Today we're starting at the launch complex, the core of SpaceX's Starship program. Do you remember our talk last time about the massive concrete pour beneath the orbital launch mount? Back then we speculated that steel embeds were installed at the base of this behemoth. Fast forward a bit and bam! Our theory was spot on, confirmed thanks to the latest aerial pictures from RGV aerial photography. Mauricio has captured this 6-piece metallic framework sunk in concrete. Its purpose is to provide a stable, leveled surface to install the water-cooled steel plate on. When it comes to the parts of the plate itself, we've long suspected that the mysterious rear wall of the Sanchez site production tent was about to reveal its secrets, and boy oh boy, we were right on the money. I don't think any of us were truly prepared for the big reveal. Our camera maestro chief captured the hidden treasure on June 29th, just before we all went on vacation for Independence Day. This steel sandwich is supposed to withstand the force of 33 Raptor engines firing at it with all their power. Just a few hours after we got the first glimpse, a road closure was declared for the following night. As soon as the closure kicked in, the previous steel plate was loaded onto SPM transporters and embarked on its journey to the launch complex. Now you're probably eyeballing the plate and thinking, isn't this wider than the gap? How will they get this through and into the middle? Don't worry, SpaceX has got it all figured out. Remember that intriguing piece we were puzzling over together a few episodes back? Turns out it's not part of a flame diverter as we initially thought, but a nifty rig that enables transporting the plate in a vertical orientation. Once the plate was maneuvered between the OLM legs, cranes came into action to hook onto the metal frame on top and gently lowered into place. Many said that SpaceX wouldn't even be able to work on top of the concrete before it hardened out, and that this was the main reason for launch readiness to take at least a few more months. Here you can see a hefty SPM transporter with a few tons of plate cruising over it. In the meantime, Cameron County slapped on a couple of 2-hour road closures for July 6th. During the first closure, a pair of steel plate parts were escorted to the launch site. Did you know that these components had spent weeks at the Sanchez site getting fitted with a manifold and its protective casing? If not, you should subscribe to Why right now. Later that night, the third and final piece from the Sanchez site joined the party at the launch site. If you look closely, you'll notice all 3 steel pieces are now sporting an odd frame. What's that all about, you ask? Well, it's quite an ingenious setup. Given the odd shape of these pieces and the limited space around the launch table legs, SpaceX knew that lifting would be problematic. That's what the metal frame is for. It enabled workers to attach counterweights, thus balancing the load throughout the installation process. Fast forward to July 7th and all 3 pieces were secured in place. Half the deluge plate in less than 24 hours. In less than a week, the brilliant minds at SpaceX had managed to transport almost all the essential parts and complete their installation. That's got to be a new record. Now it might be a good moment to take a look at what has changed since the last time I covered the working principle behind the new deluge system. Here I owe a massive debt of gratitude to my good friend and outstanding 3D artist Ryan Hansen Space, who has supplied us with a ton of new material. Take a look at these stunningly detailed renders. Besides the central plate, the water deluge system comprises 6 additional elements. 3 of these are equipped with a water manifold, while the remaining trio isn't. Initially, we concluded that the parts would be arranged alternately, placing each manifold-equipped piece between two without one. This setup would result in a rather complex piping system, yet recent developments have painted a clearer picture, and it seems the piping won't be quite as intricate as we'd imagined. The three parts with water inlets were all installed adjacent to one another, with the manifold-less pieces set to occupy the opposite side of the launch mount. Now you're probably wondering, where are the remaining three pieces? After all, this isn't complete yet. No need to scan the horizon, they are already near the launch tower, indicating imminent installation and subsequent completion of the entire plate. It seems Elon's timeline wasn't so far-fetched after all. In fact, this might already be done by the time you are watching this. Of course, the plate, while being the most important part, requires a system that will actually provide it with water. Without it, the whole thing would be useless. Shift your gaze slightly to the left and you'll spot the water supply system. There it is. I can basically say this one about almost everything at Starbase, but here we go again. Over the past few days, this installation has seen significant progress. Additional valves and piping have been affixed to 2 water storage tanks. Unfortunately, the third one is still missing and isn't visible anywhere yet. The substantial amount of piping present there hints at a possible upcoming expansion of this system, with more tanks to be installed in the future. Piece by piece, the piping leading to the steel plate is being routed. Did you know that all parts connected directly to the water manifolds were already installed? The Y-shaped piece is the last to be placed. Done. On July 8th, several MOVAC vehicles arrived at the launch site. What is MOVAC, you may ask? It is a company primarily involved in fluid and waste management. We're still uncertain as to why so many trucks were needed, but it's plausible that they were ferrying water to fill the tanks located behind the tower. This can be an indication that a leak test of the piping is really close, perhaps only days away. Once everything is welded and sealed, I'd expect another round of concrete pouring, as some rebar is still exposed. Surprisingly or not, the monumental sprinkler system or an upside-down shower head isn't the only component nearing readiness for another Starship launch. The Orbital Launch Integration Tower, aka OLIT, itself has recently been enhanced with 2 significant modifications. The first addition is a staircase, serving as an emergency exit in the event of an elevator failure, something that occurred just prior to the first Starship launch. Lesson learned. Do you see the second modification? Leave your bets in the comments before continuing. No cheating. Alright, ready? The ship quick disconnect arm has made a triumphant return. Despite its seemingly innocuous appearance, this component plays a vital role within Stage 0. This arm transports the liquid propellant necessary to fuel the Starship's second stage, and also establishes the electrical and telemetry links with all the ground equipment. Shortly after the first Starship launch, this arm was detached from the tower. It was initially assumed that the quick disconnect had sustained damage during liftoff, forcing the workers to replace it with a brand new one. However, it later became clear that the hot staging system, which we've previously discussed, would render the booster taller, thus shifting the Starship connection point a few meters up. Consequently, on July 1st, a new significantly taller QD arm platform was installed while the old one was detached. This isn't the first time SpaceX has tweaked the height of the quick disconnect arm. Back when it was decided that the B4 Ship 20 pair won't take into the skies, the arm was also moved to accommodate the next generation Starship stack. It's exciting to witness its return, and with both the Ship QD and the Booster QD now operational, we could see a complete Starship stack sitting on the launch deck in just a few weeks. What might even be more important is the fact that this confirms SpaceX intend to do hot staging on the next launch. Anything else simply wouldn't fit the new connection. Now let's zoom out a bit. You're currently looking at the Orbital Tank Farm, or OTF. Here, SpaceX stores all necessary elements in liquid form, including nitrogen, oxygen, and methane. For a while now, we've been eagerly anticipating the expansion of the tank farm alongside the methane vessels. The wait is over, it's finally underway. Foundations were laid adjacent to the 5 bullet tanks, and recently an additional tank was transported and installed on this base. Keep in mind that all this happens at the same time. The logistical work behind all these parallel constructions is outright insane. Its placement strongly suggests that it's another methane tank aimed at boosting the farm's overall capacity. You might be tempted to think this is the tank previously sighted at the Brownsville port, but intriguingly it's a different one. The other one still remains at the port. As you can see, the launch site is really close to resuming prototype testing. It's almost unbelievable. I can't wait for a function test of the deluge plate and another booster lift using the Mechazilla arms. Now let's embark on a brief 5-minute stroll down the road to the build site, where a whole array of activities is taking place. For quite some time now, this bay has been hosting only 2 inhabitants. Ship 29 situated to the left and Ship 28 to the right. The status of both these prototypes has remained largely unchanged. The most substantial development occurred with Ship 28. It was re-equipped with its payload bay door, now reinforced with additional stringers to help with the overall rigidity of the structure. Intriguingly, on June 29th, several interesting components made their way into the high bay, including a ship payload bay and a peculiar ring boasting 24 holes connected to a smooth dome. This assembly will likely evolve into a test tank designed to subject both the payload bay and the hot staging system to mechanical stress. If SpaceX is serious about their second flight plan, this contraption should be moved to the Messa's test site rather soon. If you're a regular Y-Watcher, you know that a Starship won't fly anywhere without its booster. Even though the first megabay allows for concurrent construction of them, that's not enough to keep up with the tempo. Crazy enough. This is the rationale behind the ongoing construction of a second megabay. On June 28th, the 4th part of the building's 3rd level was transported to the build site and integrated into the building within 2 days. July 2nd witnessed the emergence of the first section of the 4th level, which was then installed 5 days later. Finally, at the moment, the 2nd section of the 4th level is positioned near the bay, with extra sections under construction at the Sanchez site. Can you believe this? The 2nd megabay has already reached over 50% completion. The same, however, cannot be said for SpaceX's enormous production facility, the Star Factory. This project is progressing at a slow yet steady pace, with groundwork being conducted to extend the foundations toward Highway 4. Additional roof segments were also prepped and later installed. Once completed, Star Factory will claim the title of the largest structure in terms of footprint throughout the entire Starbase, a proper Starship assembly line. As anticipated, the ground fabrication building, once an obstruction for the Star Factory's expansion, is now being reconstructed at the rear of the Sanchez site. With the foundations ready and the first beams already mounted, it shouldn't take SpaceX more than a few weeks to finish it. During this episode, I've shown you quite a few prototype pictures, and there is even more to show. But first, a word from the folks at Surfshark who made this episode possible. Attention fellow space adventurers, prepare for an enhanced online voyage with Surfshark VPN, the ultimate all-in-one solution for celestial browsing. Surfshark VPN not only operates in over 100 countries, but also stands as the inaugural commercially available VPN with this astronomical coverage. Bid farewell to discriminatory pricing while mapping out your upcoming cosmic journey. By evading tracking cookies and IP tracing, Surfshark VPN ensures that you stay within your travel budget. Be astute and activate Surfshark VPN. Alter your virtual location to unlock more affordable airfare and hotel rates. Eager to watch a movie that's unavailable in your country? Surfshark VPN enables you to change your virtual location, granting access to diverse content on streaming platforms. Just switch the server, refresh the page, and get ready for your next intergalactic movie marathon. Your online activities are your own affair, and Surfshark ensures it remains that way. Whether on your PC or smartphone, Surfshark VPN has you covered. Join the space pioneers who place their trust in Surfshark VPN for an improved, fortified internet experience. Visit surfshark.deal/Felix, seize this incredible offer and input my promo code Felix for 3 months for free. Surfshark, surf with your own set of rules. Alright, back to the prototypes. Have you noticed anything missing in these photos? If your answer was Booster 10, then well done, you're spot on. After a few weeks as part of the exhibition at the Rocket Garden, Booster 10 was finally rolled down Highway 4. There, it entered Massey's test facility located just 8.5 kilometers or 5.5 miles from the build complex. This marked the first time a Super Heavy prototype has ventured so far away from Starbase, at least on the ground. Now, do you know the reason for this move? Right, cryogenic testing. For a while now, SpaceX has been developing a cryo test stand designed specifically for boosters. With the recent pouring of the pile cap and the stand being connected to ground support equipment, it's safe to suggest that Massey's is nearly ready for its inaugural booster test. We are close. What do you think is coming up next for Booster 10 after the pressure testing? A static fire? Scrapyard? Perhaps you have some other ideas? Please let me know in the comments. I'll be busy reading and replying as always. And while you're at it, smash that like button, subscribe, share this video with your family and friends, and consider becoming a wise supporter. For just $1 per month, you get access to daily Starbase photo galleries from our YCam operator chief. That's over 100 photos every single day and countless other extras on top. No matter how much you decide to give, everyone gets the same supporter content and access. A link to our Patreon page can be found in the description, and it is hard to express how thankful I am to the thousands of supporters who already support us. We love you all, you make us independent. Starship, of course, isn't the only rocket in the world. Did you know that SpaceX has smashed yet another record? No, it's hard to keep track of all of them, even for us. On July 9th, yet another Starlink mission was scheduled to launch from Slick 40 at the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. This particular Falcon 9 mission was scheduled to embark with 22 second-generation mini-satellites on board designed to broaden the constellation's bandwidth. Starlink V2 Mini is a transitional version of this satellite, as the full-blown V2 generation requires Starship, which is yet to reach orbit successfully. Though this may seem like any other routine Starlink mission, there is a catch, and you're going to love it. We haven't witnessed SpaceX pushing the boundaries of booster reusability for a while now. The previous record was set over half a year ago, back in December 2022, when booster B1058 managed to land for the 15th time. This record was then equaled by B1060 in January 2023. Since then, no other booster had taken on a 15th journey, let alone a record-breaking 16th launch. That is until this Starlink mission. After an extensive period of no use, which spanned over 200 days between launches, the booster originally used for the Demo Crew 2 mission was set to shatter the record by successfully launching and landing for the 16th time. Originally, SpaceX aspired to achieve 10 reuses for every Falcon 9, but after reaching this target, they moved the goalpost to 20 flights, a milestone we are inching closer to with every launch. What will happen once they reach this landmark? Did you know that Elon Musk once mentioned that he sees no hindrances that would stop SpaceX from reusing boosters up to 100 times? Only time will tell whether they can endure such a relentless cycle. While the Falcon 9's design has reached its final form over the years, lacking any significant recent alterations largely as a NASA requirement for crew flights, there have been some subtle modifications along the way. One such tweak was evident during the launch of the European Space Agency's Euclid telescope. Moments after the stage separation, you may have noticed something unusual. The view of our home planet, Earth, seemed more vibrant and significantly sharper. This is attributed to SpaceX's decision to upgrade the cameras mounted on the Falcon's second stage. Upgrades. This enhanced field of view and heightened clarity sets a new benchmark for space launch live streaming. Just look at this perspective. Aside from beautiful views, you might be wondering why ESA would use a SpaceX rocket for their satellite launch. Don't they have their own fleet of launch vehicles? That's a bit complicated right now. Following a minor delay due to issues with the pyrotechnical transmission lines, the final Ariane 5 rocket, assigned to mission VA261, launched from French Guiana, lighting up its solid rocket boosters one last time. This mission ferried two payloads: Syracuse 4B, a military communications satellite built for the French government, and Heinrich Hertz H2Z, a communications satellite for the German government. Both payloads were successfully delivered to their respective orbits, marking the end of an era in space rocketry with one last success. Over its nearly 30-year service life, Ariane 5 executed 117 launches, with 112 proving successful, translating to an impressive success rate exceeding 95%. While some may see the conclusion of the Ariane 5 era as disheartening, the truth is right down to earth. Epic wordplay. The rocket had become excessively expensive and lacked significant innovation. That's why it was intended to be superseded by Ariane 6, with the ambition of having similar launch costs and potentially competing with Falcon 9's price structure. However, in practice, delays in Ariane 6's development meant that there was no overlapping operational period between the two rockets. As a result, Europe presently lacks a heavy launch vehicle. Currently, Arianespace's only active operational rocket is the Vega C rocket, or at least it was. The last Vega launch in December 2022 resulted in a failure when the second stage deviated from its planned trajectory. Half a year later, on June 28th, the supposedly fixed Zefiro 4D motor underwent a static fire test in a rush to return to operational status as soon as possible. However, the test resulted in an anomaly, prompting an investigation that could span weeks, possibly even months, to find the cause of the pressure loss during the test. Consequently, Europe currently lacks a ready-to-launch rocket, which explains why the Euclid launch was outsourced to SpaceX. So, what are your thoughts on this? Should this be a wake-up call to ESA and Arianespace, or maybe they should give up on making rockets and instead focus exclusively on payloads? Is the private space industry ready to take it from here? Share your thoughts in the comments. That's it for today. Remember to smash the like button and subscribe for more awesome content. Check out our epic shirts in your favorite Space Nerd store. A link is in the description. And if you want to get even smarter about space and rockets, watch this video next to continue your journey. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again in the next episode. Do you remember? Much more. Let's do it again. The Orbital. Oh, come on.